My name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Okay, today we have a watch that was actually created by a friend from one of the watch groups I'm in. This is the Chrono Quartz 300, which has been lent into the channel for review, and this is an homage to the older style Monin case watches. However, before we get to the review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe, and if you're enjoying the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. This watch is currently available and has an MSRP of $367. If you're interested in one, check out Quartz Watches on Instagram for more details. The case is a bit hard to measure with the overall shape and the crown guards, but when I take a measurement diagonally, I get around 41 millimeters in diameter and then 47.5 millimeters lug to lug. It's 13 millimeters thick and has a 20 millimeter lug width opening. On the supplied strap, it weighs in at 103 grams. Now, the entire case is nicely and consistently brushed. The shape is very interesting with swooping lugs with a slightly scalloped edge. The lines on the case are crisp and the case features large crown guards that envelop the crown. This is a really fun case shape, and with 20 millimeter lugs, you're going to have a ton of strap options. The stock nylon strap starts at 20 millimeters and does not taper. The hardware is solid with a blasted finish. The nylon is soft and comfortable. However, due to the double layer, the strap causes the watch to ride very high on the wrist. I would suggest cutting the stock strap to convert it into a single pass style or selecting a different strap for this watch. I found a very nice pairing of a black and orange strap that you'll see later in the wrist shot. The screw-in caseback helps with the hefty 300 meters of water resistance. It's quite sterile overall with just some information around the edges, including the fact that this watch is Swiss made. This watch is powered by a Swiss Ronda 517 day-date movement. This is a quartz movement with a 45-month battery life and a stated accuracy of -10 to +20 seconds per month. It also features a quick set day and date. Also, the second-hand registration on this particular watch is perfect. The 6mm screw-down crown is nicely knurled. Despite the large crown guards, I found it very easy to get a grip on the crown. The threading and unthreading action is a tiny bit gritty, but if I had to guess, it will smooth out over time. It's very easy to operate this watch via the crown. The watch is fitted with a flat sapphire crystal, which is just the slightest touch proud of the bezel. The underside of the crystal is treated with 2 layers of anti-reflective coating, which helps with the overall legibility of the watch. The 120-click unidirectional bezel has a coin-style edge. The action is consistent and ratchety. The bezel does settle back about a full click when you stop turning it. The alignment is very close to perfect, but is ever so slightly off to the left. The bezel is DLC coated and looks stunning. I love the contrast of the bezel against the case. My only complaint is the markings are slightly strange on the bezel. They don't line up perfectly with the minutes on the dial. At first glance, it appears that all the minute markings are present on the bezel, but there are actually only 3 dashes rather than 4 for every 5-minute interval. The dial on this watch is incredibly deep set, which looks really cool. The dial is matte black and framed by a brushed rehaut. The edge of the dial has each of the minute markings with slightly larger dashes for the hour positions. The dial is printed, and then 12, 6, and 9 are represented with numerals, with rectangles for the rest of the hour positions, save for the date at 3, which is nicely framed and utilizes a black date and day wheel, which I think was the right choice for this dial in my opinion. The logo at 12 is a duck, which is a clever combination of an S and a Q. Whoever designed this logo is clearly very talented. Below the duck logo is Chrono Ports, and at 6 we have Quartz and 300. Swiss made and T flanks the 6 o'clock position. Overall, the dial is very legible, and I love the use of numerals for 6, 9, and 12. The baton style hour and minute hands are flat and filled with lume. The hour hand is white and the minute hand is orange. I love the orange hand as it adds a splash of color and character to the watch overall. I also appreciate that both the hour and minute hands are plenty long, and the minute hand terminates all the way at the very edge of the dial. The second hand has a short counterbalance and a lume tip. And as mentioned before, the registration of the second hand is perfect. As you can see, the lume is very strong. It's also very responsive and lasts a long time, as you'll be able to see in this time lapse. And here is the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist on the stock strap. And then here it is from the side. You can see on the stock strap with those 2 layers, it does make the watch ride quite high. And here it is on a single pass strap, and you can see, one, I like this color combination better, but then also from the side, you can see it doesn't really raise the watch up as much off your wrist. So pros and cons, starting with the pros. First, I absolutely love the overall look of this watch. There's something really cool about the DLC bezel. The Sector Dive from Notice had a DLC bezel that I really liked, but it didn't have markings, which kind of reduced its overall functionality. Second, I love the deep set dial and the overall legibility of the watch. The black day and date wheel were really the correct choice here. And then I love that hefty 300 meters water resistance. You shouldn't be afraid to take this watch in the water and on adventures. For cons, first we have the strap. I think you will most likely want to cut the strap to make it a single pass style or just replace it altogether. So just keep that in mind if you order one of these. Second, I know I said I love the DLC bezel with the markings, but I would prefer if the dashes on the bezel were present for every minute. Finally, I'm not a fan of the slight settle back that the bezel does when you stop turning it. As for comparable watches, CWC makes a watch with the same case called the MK1. However, it only has mineral glass and is almost $200 more. For slightly less, you could check out some of the offerings from MWC watches, such as the Military Diver. And then for a less expensive option, I would check out the Skurfa Diver 1, which comes in a ton of cool colorways, including a black PVD version with orange hands. So there you have it, the Chrono Quartz Quartz 300. What do you think about this watch? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe, and if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.